Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It is the live topic today, and we are going to chat about harnessing thoughts or letting them go. So we've kind of talked about this a little bit with emotions and with intrusive thoughts and depression. It kind of all goes hand in hand because once you develop the tools for one or the other, you start to realize and start to implement it in other aspects of your life because they all kind of work together. So one of the things with thoughts, okay, I want you guys to understand is that thoughts come to you. You don't necessarily create your thoughts. And so there's a way to make certain thoughts come to you more often, and that is by having total awareness. And what I mean by having total awareness is you need to think about your mind as something that consumes things, because that is literally what your mind is doing. It's consuming everything around you. It is giving you a perception of the world, a perception of a person, a perception of ideas, of ideologies, of just literally everything. Your brain is a perceiver. It is a sponge. It soaks up information. So once you know that you don't necessarily create your thoughts, you're giving them in some sense. You're given them by energy, by things around you. Then you start to develop the awareness around your thoughts, right? And so the first thing that comes along with that is when you develop the awareness, then you're going to understand that everything you feed it matters. Everything that you feed it matters. So the music that you listen to, okay? Who here, raise your hand below in the comments, who here is still listening to music that they don't really even know what the lyrics are saying? They're just playing the radio. They're just playing their 90s or 80s music still. They're not really listening to the song, the lyrics that are actually coming through the radio, that are actually entering their mind. Who here is still doing that? They're just totally unaware of what they're listening to. They just turn it on, okay? So comment below if that's you. Now, the reason I'm bringing up music is because music kind of puts you in a trance state. You are literally vibing to this music. So if you think about that and you think about how your mind is actually soaking up all of these thoughts, all of these energies that are coming to you with the music, then you're going to realize when you start to focus on those lyrics that may actually be contributing to some of your thoughts, okay? So listen to the music that you're listening to. Is it trash music? And if it is trash music, you need to stop listening to it. You need to stop listening to the trash music and start either finding different music without lyrics or music with better lyrics, or start listening to podcasts or books, okay, when you're driving. Maximize your time. That helps you create the thoughts and ideas that you want, because when you're feeding yourself all of this stuff, you're essentially putting yourself into some sort of psychological state. You know, you can either be in psychological war with yourself or you can be in psychological peace with yourself, right? So you need to think about everything you're literally putting in your head. When you're watching TV, okay, you know, obviously, like, I love Yellowstone. I don't know who likes Yellowstone, but I freaking love that. But knowing how our mind works, I know that it's probably not the best show, but it could be worse. But if you're someone that watches a lot of horror movies like I used to, or murder mysteries or whatever, you are consistently feeding your mind that. So when you go out into the world, how do you think that you perceive the world? You might be thinking of, and I saw this the other day on a post and I kind of laughed because it's so true. Like, you actually might be thinking of, well, I wonder if that person's holding someone in their basement. Like, or I wonder if that person's going to attack me. You're constantly thinking about those things and you're on edge. But the thing is that you've been feeding yourself these thoughts. And so now they're just popping up. And now you can either change that yourself, or you can linger on that, or you can let it go. And so I'll get into that in a minute as well. So like I said, music, TV, the news. Are you flipping on the news every morning? Most of the news is like purely either negative or entertainment. Like, there's no real positive news or things that are actually happening around you. There's usually an agenda with it, right? So are you watching the news every single morning, like especially in the morning? Are you getting up and that's the first thing you're watching? Like, if that's the first thing you're watching, think about the mindset that you are setting yourself up for the day, okay? You're setting yourself up for that. You're setting yourself up to perceive the world as, oh man, we're still in COVID. Oh man, like the economy might crash. Oh, the inflation sucks. Like, you're setting yourself up for that. And you need to think about that, because if you need to develop the awareness of your mind that you are constantly feeding it the garbage, right? And you got to flip that for yourself. So don't start your day off with the news. I never freaking turn that thing on unless I want to see the agenda. Like, if I see things going on that I'm like, what the heck's going on here? Then I might flip it on. I don't even know the last time that I flipped on the news. Blogs, people you hang out with, your family. Everyone has some sort of mindset impact on you. So who are you hanging out with? They always say, like, the top five people, like, show me the top 5 people that you're hanging out with and I can tell you what your future is going to be. Because that's legit. That is totally legit. You are who you hang out with. You actually are the average of who you hang out with. So if you want to hang out with, you actually want to hang out with people that are better than you, that are going to push you, that are going to make you work harder, because if you don't, you're the average of those people. So you got to keep that in mind when you're hanging out with people. Blogs you're reading, podcasts you're listening to, those are hanging out with people. If you're consistently listening or reading those things, that's the person that you will become, because those are the thoughts that are going to continually come into your mind. So like I said, number one is freaking awareness. Like, be aware of everything you are putting into your mind. Know that you are in a psychological war in some sense. What side do you want to be on? Do you want to have these thoughts that you don't like? You know, they're kind of intrusive. You're like, why the heck did I just think of that? It's because of the things that you're listening to, the things that you're watching, the people that you're around, the toxicity. So you have to have control. You have to have the awareness to make the changes in order to have better thoughts, the thoughts that come to you, okay? One of the tools that I have learned through my journey of harnessing thoughts or letting go of thoughts is that, well, there's really 2, because I implemented a lot of meditation, and I implemented a lot of meditation when I'm running, because I find, and this could be in any workout, like, if you're doing a workout and you enter into more of like a trance state where you're just kind of out of body, right? It's a really freaking hard workout. If you don't really leave your body at that moment, then it's just not going to be fun, right? So if you push through a hard workout, then you're going to get into these trance states. Or when you're meditating and you kind of like, you're taking deep breaths and you're trying to move through whatever's going on, right? Body sensations, mindset, thoughts, intrusive thoughts, or depression or anxiety, all these things come up in meditation. So if you can learn to move past that, then you're going to start to get into that trance state where you can start to manipulate thoughts, okay? So this might be a lot for you if you've never done these things. But what I'm trying to say here is that if you can get into a spot in your mind where everything's starting to settle down, but you're starting to hear thoughts and you're starting to feel feelings, and at that point, that's when you start to make a decision. And so this is where you start to get thought control, okay? So you have things coming in, and now you're going to make a decision. Like, okay, so now I just had a negative thought, and man, I really don't like that thought. So you're going to feel that, you're going to hear that thought, and then now's the choice. Now's the choice to either let that thought just go, okay, or harness it. And so this is where you start to learn how to control your thoughts. Another way to do this, like, let's say I want to let that thought go, okay? Like, I really don't like that thought, but it just keeps coming up. Okay, so first of all, acknowledge it. Don't just throw it out, right? Because if you don't acknowledge it, it's going to persist. So acknowledge, like, okay, I really just don't like that thought, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay to hear that thought. It's okay to feel that feeling of that thought. But now I'm going to find what's called an anchored thought. Okay, now I'm going to flip this thought so that way it's okay and it leaves me. Okay, so I'm trying to think of like a thought. Like, okay, well, maybe I've been psychologically abused in some sense, okay? So this just keeps popping up in my head. I've been psychologically abused. I keep feeling this. It sucks. Like, it's making me make bad decisions. And I hear this when I'm in meditation, or I hear this during the trance state of a run, okay? So I'm going to hear that and feel that. Like, being psychologically abused totally effed me up, right? So I'm gonna feel that. I'm gonna feel that pain for a minute. But now I'm gonna find an anchor thought. Okay, well that happened to me, it has made me so much stronger. It has helped me help people. It has helped me become the person that I am now. So it's okay. It's okay that happened to me. I don't have to be in that person anymore. I don't have to be that child anymore. I can make the decision now to be like, you know what? I'm happier now where I am. I'm not in that situation anymore. And so that's where you start to not only heal the past, but you also start to create a future that you want. You're not living here anymore. You're living further ahead. And so any kind of thought that comes in, you want to really acknowledge that thought. Let it go in a sense, and then find an anchor thought of what's better in your life. How can I make whatever happened to me turn into something better in my life? So you start to harness thoughts that you want. Okay, you start to create the thoughts that you want. Another thing, like when it comes to meditation and you have been like hearing these thoughts in your head, is you're going to have like a lot of feelings come up that you don't necessarily like as well. So when you have these feelings come up, I want you to know that it is okay to cry through these feelings. There's been so many times that I've been in a meditation and I am literally like having all these root issues come up, and these thoughts come up, and I'm literally shedding them from my body, and I'm crying, and I am forgiving myself, and I'm saying it's okay, like you didn't know, or that's not what you meant to do, or they didn't know. You know, even changing stories about people, you know, like maybe somebody did something to you and that freaking sucked, but you don't know like what their past was and why maybe they did it to you. And so you kind of have to, you're just gonna go through these times of really just healing from these emotions and from these past circumstances in these trance states. And so you need to be able to bring yourself there, is what I'm trying to say. You need to take the time to not only develop the awareness around the things that you're continually soaking in, but the awareness of your own thoughts, the awareness of your own feelings, the awareness of your own triggers, and start to heal from them. Because you have to take the time to heal from them if you want to start to control the narrative of your mind, okay? If you want to start to think for yourself. You know, there's a story that comes to mind right now. So when I was starting to kind of navigate through my new lifestyle of coaching, I fell into this job, literally lasted one night because I wanted to try it out. I needed the money. I didn't know if I would actually like it, but it was kind of like a coaching opportunity as well. So what happened was, it was in Florida, Indiana, and I ran into this really awesome chick, and she had this company called Keeping It Real, and I've mentioned this before. But essentially it was an addiction rehab housing thing where she had like several girls that were trying to break their addictions to drugs, stay in this house full time. And they would do their programs with them. They would distribute medicine. And then my job was to babysit them all night, essentially. Make sure they didn't leave the house. Make sure they didn't get into fights. Like, that was my job. So I literally went there and I just literally hung out, and I don't even remember what I did while I was there besides that. But I was listening to their conversations. I was watching kind of what they were doing and what kind of TV was on. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because when you're in that mindset, because I've been there, right? And you're unaware of what's going on. You're unaware of what you're listening to, what you're watching, how you're behaving. You do things around you that are still creating the person that you're trying to overcome, okay? So these girls are in an addiction facility. I don't know if they chose that or not. I have no idea. But what I do know is when I was watching them, the TV and the conversations were all about the lifestyle they were trying to get out of. Okay, so the TV is playing the trashiest show of like people dealing drugs and getting in trouble and getting arrested and living these awful lifestyles. Like, that is what they were feeding their mind. That is the reality that they were literally just living in. And they were allowing this TV of this show playing in the background. But to me, knowing what I know now, that is definitely not what I would have allowed them to watch. I wouldn't have allowed them probably not even to have a TV, because when I was in my recovery mode, I did not watch TV. I read books. I wrote in a journal. I spent time on my mindset through meditation, through exercise, like got my body moving. I started trying to make my relationships better. And also, with the relationship note, the things that they were talking about to each other, because they're all addicts, they're all people that want drugs, right? All they were talking about, well, so-and-so got extra medication and it was this pill and I don't even know what it was. But the point here is they were still living in the world that is not going to break their addiction. It's still in self-sabotage mode. You're not going to get any better if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? What's that called? Insanity. So you have to literally think about your mind and think that you are what you literally feed it. You are what you feed your body. You are what you feed your soul. You are what you feed your mind. So knowing that, that's how you can learn how to harness and let go of thoughts. Okay? What thoughts do you want? What thoughts do you want? Do you want to be more positive and have better relationships and have better finances and maybe have a career that you actually enjoy, a certain lifestyle? Well, you're not going to get any of that if you're feeding yourself garbage reality shows and listening to poor people about what you should do with your money and following the diet trends and following the fashion trends and making impulse buys and listening to trash music that all they talk about is dealing drugs and throwing around money for girls. Like, that's not going to get you there. That's not going to get you the lifestyle that you want, right? So whatever lifestyle you want, whatever thoughts you actually want in your life, you need to start feeding yourself those thoughts on a consistent basis, because those thoughts that you're feeding yourself on a consistent basis are the thoughts that are more so going to be created and given to you. So yeah, you have to take responsibility for not only your mind, but your body and your soul, right? And so it is really self-responsibility. It is really being totally aware. It is thinking for yourself and implementing the tools. And another thing, guys, don't just take this information and listen to me and do nothing. Go and implement the tools. Start meditating in the morning. Start journaling in the morning. Start, when you hear a thought, find an anchor thought to make that thought better. Like, so if you're having anxiety, for an example, just a thought on the anchor thought. If you're having anxiety, don't keep dwelling down the rabbit hole on the anxiety thought that got you there. Take some deep breaths, get your breathing in control, and then have an anchor thought. So like, let's say that somebody's like that you really love's moving really far away and now you're having anxiety about that. So breathe through that and then be like, you know what? They're still going to be safe. They're probably going to grow. They're going to have a good time. Like, we're safe. We'll see each other again, things like that. Don't let it consume you. Find things that are going to make you feel better. Talk to people that are not only going to make you feel better, but give you the hard truths sometimes, and be confident in yourself. Confident is an action. Confident is created by taking actions that feel bold and feel confident. And you can do that, but you have to start feeding yourself the information and the mindset that you need to be confident, to be healthy, to be real, you know? So yeah, I'm kind of going into another thought now and another topic for another time, but I just want you to know that you can harness and control your thoughts. You just have to be totally aware of what you are constantly feeding your mind. And take the time out of your day, whether that's in the morning time or the nighttime or in the middle of the day at lunch, to journal your thoughts and to start to recreate your past story, right? Start to create a future you that you want, the future mindset that you want, and start to implement them. And it literally just takes one day at a time. It takes a new perception of your life and of your world and the people around you. So if this was helpful for you today, if this gave you some value, please drop a gift below, because, you know, I do like gifts. They make me laugh. So drop me a gift below, and I will catch you guys in the next live. Have a Merry Christmas. Bye.